All right. Hello, everybody. Fuck. All right. Hold on 1 second. I think I'm good. Let's get the Instagram working. All right. I think I'm cruising now. So look at this. Oh, no shot. All right, this is epic. Okay, so what I got going on now is I got a monitor over there so I can read your guys' comments as I'm cruising along here. But camera B? Okay. Oh, one thing I forgot. Hold on, guys. I gotta get some agua. So I left I don't know if you guys can even hear me. I left my thing here. I needed to get a bunch more water. Oh my God. Come on. Come on. And my microphone's low battery, so I feel like it's gonna die before the end of the video here, so I wanted to make sure I get it all kind of set up. Oh, thank God nobody's here yet. Well, I guess the people who watch the live on YouTube will know, but oh, somebody's here now. Move this out of the way. Hello. Sorry, I'm just prepping up here. Gonna move this to the side ever so slightly. Okay. All right, let's get this cruising now. We don't got a lot of time. Green on. Hello. Today, we got one of the Donkey Kong members right above me. I forget the name, but I know he's the grandpa in the series. But anyway, he's DJing for us tonight. We're gonna be listening to some, video game music, some video game bops. And so I got the clay ready, and I'm just gonna start getting right into it. I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope this, my thing doesn't die before then. All right, anyway, green off. Camera A. Camera A. The setup is freaking bumping. But look at this, I can see the comments now too, which is kind of nice. So you guys can also see what I'm looking at, or I can see what you guys are looking at. There we go. So it's kind of cool that Instagram has like a little thing next to it, but it's gonna be kind of nice now that I can interact with you without having to get up off the wheel. I think that was the hardest, well, not the hardest thing, it was just a problem, right? And as you're working through these things and sort of discovering more stuff about the process here, you'll find things that you need to change as you go through it. Somebody, Nick, gave me the gorilla emoji. Thank you, Nick. I am feeling quite the monkey man today. King Monkey. Right here at the bottom. I guess I could probably bump this a little bit louder. You guys can probably barely hear this. This gives me a Rainbow Road vibes. Somebody said, Ben Hanan said hi, or give me a thumbs up. Hello, I hope you're doing well. Anyway, camera B. All right up to the top. We're gonna bring this down, all right, guys? All right, this kind of gives me Fall Guys vibes, though. You guys ever played Fall Guys? I feel like Fall Guys is like a new generation video gamers thing, maybe. Anyway, I'm bringing this down, slowly bringing this out towards my palm. Fingers going down. Pulling this out. Very slowly, we don't want to totally disturb it. We always want to feel like we're cutting through the clay, right through the bottom. That's nice. We'll turn this down. These are bad. All right. I'm going to go right to the bottom edge here. I'm slowly going to be pulling this right up. All right, sweet. We're going to grab our little sponge. I'm going to write down on the bottom edge here. Get my hair off on the other side of my head here. Right to the bottom, and we're using our knuckle to really just pull up that first thickness from the bottom up into it. We don't want to get it too thin right off the bat. We actually want to slowly ease our way into there. And here we go. Oh no. You guys didn't see that? I went a little bit too thin too fast. That's okay. That's part of it. Alright, we're not going to mess around. We're going to get right into the second one then. Alright, right to the bottom. Take this off. Alright, here we go. Camera A. There we go. Dun, dun, dun. I have some ideas on things I want to do in a little bit. I want to change out where that camera is located. I want to have it above me, facing down. So I think that'd be kind of cool, but it's going to take me a little bit to get to that point. I'll probably get around to that by next week sometime. Push that down. Can you do a tall one, Jimmy Falcon? Yeah, I can do a tall one. I mean, so they all start as cylinders and then they slowly go to other objects, right? And so I'll show you my trees if you haven't seen them before. But yeah, I always try to get the clay as tall as I can first, right? And then I collapse them downwards to form my tree forms here. But I can do that for you, Jimmy. There we go. So I'm grabbing this edge. I'll swap over to camera B. Camera B. Thank you. I'll slowly bring this in. Okay. There we go. We got our volcano. So here we are with the first knuckle pull. And I just got to remember that my microphone's probably going to cut out sometime during this. So I apologize in advance, guys. There we go. Color this in ever so slightly on that top edge there. You know, Jimmy, you always want to make sure that you do a good job keeping that inwards, right? So right down to the bottom. And so you see how I'm just establishing that bump? And then the rest of the pole is taking that bump upward. Ah, thanks, Jimmy. I appreciate it. You know, it takes some time until you can really get the hang of it, but if you think this is cool, watch this, Jimmy. I'm going to show you something really cool. If you haven't seen my work before, this is, you know, a lot of people, this is where they will stop. They maybe collar it in, belly it out a little bit. But no. This is where I start, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Get down in the middle of the pot. Gotta pull out that tree top. There we go. So look at that, Jimmy. I hope you got to see that before you head off, or if you stay. But so for me, this is what my pottery is all about, right? It's just kind of about following these moments and making them into something, right? Like I call them like you know, it's almost like a song, right? Each pot I make is a song, but they all fit in a genre, right? And the songs, they all are a little bit different, but you need each of the songs so then the album can sound good, right? And this thing, it looks like it's going to tip over here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe my hands on my pants. I'm going to take that edge, I'm going to twist that right up on its inside right there and make sure it's there. Kind of looks like a king's chalice. Oh, dude, I can imagine if a king drank out of this, that'd be so epic. Yeah, it does kind of have a video game vibe to it too, you know? But I call them my trees for now, and I have a bunch of them, so that's going to be my goal. Is I'm just going to be making this year. I'm making 1,000 of them. I make 3 of them every day, you know. So I'm just cruising along. Okay, here we're going to cut the bottom edges, and we've been doing these double. So I call these the tendrils. So I take these tendrils and I wrap them all the way up the side of the pots here. So I'll show you this in a second. Look at that. So interesting. So I'm going to take this one. I'm going to have this one wrapped right up the side. Bring these in. Look at that. Looks great. Okay. So that's number 1. I have to get another chunk here in a second, so I just wanted to show you all that. But pretty epic to be able to respond to you guys right away now that I have the camera right next to me. Or not the camera, the what is it called? A monitor. Hannah came to join. Hello, Hannah. I hope you're doing well. We'll move this over here. I need to get this smoothed out here. And I also need to get one more chunk. Right? I'm gonna scribe because these videos are really satisfying. Thanks, Jimmy. I appreciate that, yo. You'll see some of my videos are not too satisfying. They're a little bit more hardcore. But thanks. I appreciate the subscribe there, Jimmy. And then Hannah says, hello. Hello. Alright. Here I am centering this. I'm gonna bring this up. I'm gonna push this up right here. It slows down. I love that part. I bring that down. I feel like it kind of goes crazy. But I feel like not a lot of people like to, you know, have like little moments in their process that they look forward to. I think for me that's always one of the most important things, right? Is I want to actually enjoy the making part, right? Because the glazing part is brutal, right? The moving everything's brutal. The most fun I have during the whole entire time is right now, right on the wheel. All right. slowly cut this back right through that bottom edge. Remember, we're not pushing the clay, we're cutting right through that bottom edge there. I'm gonna move this. Look at that, nice. Okay. Move that to the side just a little bit. I'm gonna slowly bring this in. There we go, we got our volcano. I'm gonna go right down to the bottom edge here. Hand at the bottom, knuckle pushing out ever so slightly. Move the hair out of my face. You can see I'm just slowly bringing that bump in, but I'm not using too much pressure pushing outwards, right? It's almost just like someone duct taped my finger on the inside to the wall, right? But it's not pushing, it's just really duct tape there. And I'm not letting it move when I have my exterior finger pushing through, right? I'm trying to keep that in control. Okay, again, right down to the bottom edge here. And I'm going to push down to the side. So we can see there was some awkward thickness there, so we're going to finish this pole and then we're going to go back down to the bottom. All of a sudden got pretty thin there. So we got to do one more pole. I think I almost ripped it in that center though, so I got to see what we can do with this next pole here. Okay, right down to that bottom edge. Get that little bump out. Look at that, there we go. Okay. Get a little bit of water out of the interior here. So I'm going to try to get some of that water out. And if I'm thinking about it realistically, my sponge is waterlogged, or it's clay logged. It's like the opposite of waterlogged, I guess. So I just want to make sure when I do this, I can get some new water right after this pole here. But here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's going to want to collapse. So we're going to let it fall, keeping it at center point. Make sure we get our pinky out here. Let that down just like that. Slowly push this bottom edge out. And if I'm looking at this one, you know, I just want to keep in mind on what my next move is. So what I'm going to do here is this one I don't think gets a tendril. This one is going to get maybe like a little bump flange. Or I'm going to give it a tap skirt. So we'll see what happens here. And then we got to get one more piece of clay wedged up really quick. And I think my microphone's going to die soon. So I just got to make sure I'm staying ahead of the game. There's like 5 things I'm doing at once right now. But 1, 2, 3. Put these in. Put these in. Put these in. Put these in. Okay. So there we go. I think this one looks pretty cool. I'm going to take some of that clay right off that bottom edge there. So this is number 2. So it's going to collapse a little bit more on the bottom. And I don't think I'm really loving what's happening on that top edge there. Right? But we do. I'm going to just keep on cruising. I gotta set this somewhere like here. Camera A. Oh my, hold on. My camera is still on, that's unfortunate. Probably wasted a bunch of battery on that. Okay, so I gotta wipe some of the clay off my hands here. So, this one kind of collapsed and fell, so you guys will see that one in a little bit here. We're gonna keep that right down here as well. And I just want to make sure I can get another chunk wedged, so I'm wiping my hands all over my shirt and stuff like I normally do here. I'm going to wedge this up really quick. And so now I'm a little bit sad because my I don't have clay wedged up or like drying and ready for tomorrow. So I'm going to have to use some really soft clay tomorrow because I had a mess up at the beginning here, but that's okay. Stuff like that happens. You know, you just got to keep on cruising. Keep on moving. I feel like as soon as you stop and sort of try to understand everything, you know, there's a time to stop and analyze, and and there's a time to just keep on cruising. You know, right now I'm in that stage of just keep on cruising. Okay, so let's start going now. We'll move this one right on this edge here. Line these up. Okay. Right here. Sweet. Okay, a little bit of water right on this bottom edge. I'm gonna bring this down. All right. Push this down. All right, here we go. All right. Push that in at the bottom, push that up. So this is number 1. I'll swap over to camera B for a second. So camera B, there we go. Right to the bottom and up. Push this down ever so slightly here. Probably got one more pull up. Just trying to get away. Hey, that's gotta chill. So right in this middle part, you'll see I got an air bubble here. So I just want to make sure I should go right over that with my hand. And I got another little air bubble at that bottom part. So I didn't do a good job wedging. So we're just gonna go right past that edge there. Force that down. And we're gonna bring that right back up. And so you can see whenever those bubbles, you'll really get to know if your clay has air bubbles, because when you cone it up, I mean, it's just gonna really, you're gonna notice that, right? So sometimes it's kind of nice. There we go. Right down to that bottom edge. Get ready to bring the hammer fist down. Okay. Hammer fist is down. Pulling it back ever so slightly towards yourself. There we go. So right up at the bottom here. And we're going to keep in mind that we have some air bubbles in this chunk here. So right down to the bottom. There might even be some hard parts to this. So the sound effects. You gotta have the sound effects, you know what I mean? Like for me, I think if I don't make noises when I'm throwing, I feel like I'm missing something, right? I think they really do help, at least me. They help get me in the mindset of like being in control of the clay, right? Like if I make that sound, the sound kind of guides what my hands are gonna do, if that makes sense, right? So I always be making sound effects when I'm throwing. Okay, knuckle right over the knuckle, pushing in right at this bottom edge. And we're just trying to even out those layers as much as we can, right? We don't want to spiritual. Someone said great work. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Keeping it fun, totally. That's kind of my mindset with it, right? Like I said earlier, you know, this is the only part of the ceramic process that's bearable to me, is the throwing. Look at that pole, nice. All right, we're pretty thin on the top, but realistically, we got one more pole in this, so I gotta start collaring from this middle part. The poles, thank you, I appreciate it. Cheyenne Soto, that's nice of you to say. Alright, so we're collaring that in ever so slightly, right? We're going to go right to the bottom, and then we want to get some water right on our arm there. And again, we're right at the bottom edge. Taking our finger right up underneath to find that little bump. You can slow it down a little bit. You know, you're just taking it for a little journey. All the way to the top. And then it's slowly get to the top, be slow. Round off that edge, and there we go. Sweet. So we got a nice pole there. we meet again. Technic. I don't know who Technic is. Like the Minecraft pack? How did you say it's the only part that's bearable? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I really don't like glazing. I don't like any of that's like, it's all kind of fun. Maybe I like loading a kiln. That's kind of satisfying. I don't really like unloading the kiln. I don't like moving the work. There's a lot of parts that I really just don't like. Oh, technique. Thank you. I mean, for me, it's all about keeping my hands or my elbow projected on the other side of where I'm pulling, right? I think a lot of times when you keep your elbow close to you, you're pulling and yanking the clay towards yourself, right? But yeah, pulling and doing the stuff on the wheel, that's the only bearable part. I think everything else is just, I don't know. I like moments in the ceramic process where I have like my movement is dictating how the form is looking, right? I think trimming I don't like because I feel like there's not as much pulling that's happening. Yeah, marvelously. Thank you. I appreciate that. But here we go. So we're gonna start pulling this up now. So here we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, we're right at the top. We got it all nice and wound up. We're gonna slowly have that twist up. So we gotta make sure we twist this a little bit more on this inside here. So here we go. Okay, there we go. And we can go on back on the inside with our pinkies out. And it's really thin right here, but we're slowly carving our pinky up. And it's going to want to collapse there, so we don't want to go too thin, but just thin enough to really give it that tree look to it. It can also be too many steps, but it's definitely worth all the work. Yeah, I think too, if you're trying to make some stuff with, like if you're trying to make like things for people, right? I think the whole process becomes worth it because like nothing's more beautiful in my mind than making like an object specifically for an individual for a purpose, right? And so like I think that makes the whole entire process really worthwhile because it's an investment of your time. And I always think there's nothing more valuable to somebody than their time. And so like I think that's a beautiful gesture to give somebody. But yeah. And then somebody said, you're gonna do the tree thing with the pokes. Yep, I always do my trees all the time. Because I gotta make, I'm coming close onto the year of making trees every day. So that's gonna be pretty exciting. And I think after that, I'm gonna do some different types of things. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do for next year, you know? Ooh, we leaning a little. I gotta make sure. Ooh, leaning a little. Tree looks ready to fall. Yeah, sometimes they do fall, you know, sometimes they like totally collapse and stuff, and sometimes it looks ugly and sometimes it looks okay, you know, so it's just kind of being open to like those sort of things, and you'll start to discover that sometimes what we define as failures are only failures because they're unexplored, right? And so that's a big part of my practice is trying to find out the beauty in some of these things that are labeled as failures in ceramics. Okay. So here we are. We're taking this edge off. I've been doing these double tendrils recently. I think they look really nice. There's beauty in all the imperfections. Yeah, and I feel like it's not like, for example, like some imperfections they don't make it, right? Some imperfections they don't get to survive and be a part of the grouping, you know? So it's all about trying to find your own sort of like judging of your own objects that I think is the fun part. I think sometimes, you know, judging is not a very positive thing in the world, right? But I think it can be depending on how you use it, right? If you use it internally and with your own work, I think judging can be like an amazing source of learning, right? Especially learning from material. I think that's kind of a really fun part about it. But here we go. Almost it looks like it's like ripping it open here. I think that's pretty awesome. This is deep. Thanks. But I really do think that it's okay to like embody like judging, right? I just think it shouldn't seep into your conversations with others, right? And I think that's kind of where the key is with a lot of things, right? I think every human should be able to feel all sorts of emotions every single week. You know, I think a lot of people, they always dream of being happy, but you know, being sad and all these things puts everything else into perspective. And so I think, talk about balance, right? Balance really happens for me most when I get to experience all the different emotions. You just got to learn to not project them onto others. It almost looks like it's holding its head in its tantrums. Yeah, I think some of them are crazy like that. Anyway, camera A. Camera A. Yeah, I think some of them, I'll bring that other one out. I do think that that one looks pretty cool where it's almost holding its head out, you know? It's like pulling its own opening down or something. There's something. Sometimes I think this one doesn't do it as good as some of the other ones I've made, but it's still kind of cool. I think we'll have, do we like how this one looks with the ripped open? I think we got to do the reverse because this one's collapsing one way, and so we'll have this one collapse the other. And so these are collapsing too because when I belly that top out, I'm already so thin. So if I overhydrate it, it ends up ripping, you know, in some interesting spots. But I kind of like the way that looks on the back. And then we got one more thing here. I mean, look at how interesting that back part looks too. So it's cool that you can see too. Would you make a wine bottle? Yeah, you know, after, like I said, I'm making the trees every day. Oh yeah, for sure I can make a wine bottle. If after the year ends on like July 14th, then I'm gonna take a week to make a whole video for everything. And so once that video is all done, then I'm gonna be doing some more just random pieces and random works. And so if you have ideas, you want me to make a wine bottle, yeah, I can make a wine bottle for sure. You just, like I said, you're gonna have to remind me. Looks like a spinal cord. Yeah, a little bit. It does look a little wacky, yo. I feel like anything that's like referencing the body kind of creeps me out a little bit though, especially blood. I was talking to one of my students earlier and we were talking about how I just hate seeing my own blood. But anyway, I'm gonna turn this on and I'm gonna start getting this show on the road here and then I gotta get to editing. But green on. Hello everybody, it's me. I'm back again with another pottery review. All right, we're gonna start over here with this one. This is the first one we did. I think that there's a really nice twist. And I mean, look how slim that belly is, all twisted up there. Those veins I think look really nice and neat as well. And I have one little coil, you know, from the tendril popping up, almost like it's lifting up that one side. I think that was kind of cool. It collapsed on the other side, but it's cool getting to see the underneath. On this side right here, we got one that collapsed forward. I have one that's almost reaching up into the vessel here, right? Like right in this area. And it's actually almost going into that inner vortex that's happening on the interior of the pots. I don't think it's as cool as that first one that we talked about, but I still think it's an interesting pot. The one on the top, that's the basic one for the day. You know, like I always say, you gotta have some of the mundane, right? To make the rest of the songs, right? Every pot is a song. You gotta have some of the mundane to make the extraordinary look a little bit brighter. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. All the best and strong mentality. Just yet. I'll see if there's any comments and then I'll head out. Looks a lot like MRIs. Oh, yeah. I feel like MRIs and that sort of stuff is a little bit spooky. But yeah. Yeah, then you could drink them, or for the wine bottles, then you could drink from them and sell them or send them as gifts to someone. Nice piece to set on the table to fill it with whatever. Good stuff. Yeah, I think too it could be cool just having a cork. I always thought it'd be funny to have like one of those little oil pourers, right? And instead of pouring the like oil out of it, just have like it'd be a straw for water or something. But yeah, I just thought it'd be kind of funny. But anyway, thank you guys again for watching. These were the pots for today. I appreciate it. I'm glad I got the camera over there now, or like the